Unit 1, Section 7 is all about trends or patterns that we see on the periodic table. And there are mainly three of these that we're going to talk about in this section: ionization energy, radius, and electronegativity. In this first video, we're going to focus mainly on ionization energy. Now, there's an important trend that we notice on the periodic table. The more occupied energy levels there are in an atom, the greater the distance the outermost electrons are from the nucleus. And so if you have one energy level that's occupied, it's a fairly small atom. If you have 5 energy levels, well, that's much larger as far as the size of the atom goes. So we can make a generalization and say that the farther down you go on the periodic table, the greater the distance of the outermost electrons are from the nucleus. So we're going to define the first ionization energy as the energy that's required to remove the very last electron in an atom in its gaseous form. So just as an example, if we're talking about lithium, that would be taking an atom of lithium in its gaseous form and stripping away an electron and leaving us with Li plus in the gaseous phase. And that's how you would write that equation for the first ionization energy. It looks a little strange, especially since lithium is not usually a gas, but that's just how this is written. Now, here is a graphic representation of the first ionization energy of the elements. And I want you to notice that we seem to have some very distinct patterns here. We start out with hydrogen, it goes sky high for helium, and then when we start a new period with lithium, it drops down very, very low. And then as we go across the periodic table again, it slowly increases up to neon. And then when it starts the third period, it sinks way down again. And this is a pattern that just kind of keeps repeating itself. There are some anomalies here, as you can see, but for the most part, that's what's happening all the way across the periodic table. Now, let's think about why this is the case. Why does it increase as we go higher? So as you look at the table here, you see that neon is in the area of something like 22 electron volts, whereas lithium was only like 5 or 6. So why is it over 4 times more difficult to remove that electron from neon than it is from lithium? Well, let's go back to our little cartoons that we used in an earlier video. Here's lithium, and here's neon, not really drawn to scale, of course, but you can see that in both of these, they have 2 occupied energy levels. So distance, it's not really the deal. That's not really the factor that's causing that. What do you notice that really is different about them? It's the nucleus. This lithium atom has only 3 protons. This neon atom has 10 protons, over 3 times as many. So is the factor the charge, or is it the distance? Back from our discussion about Coulomb's law. Well, it's the charge, isn't it? And so that's why it's so much more difficult to take that electron away from neon. And this shows something called effective nuclear charge. And that's basically a measure of how well or how effectively those protons, in this case neon, how those protons are pulling in those electrons in the electron cloud. I'm kind of fond of saying that in chemistry, protons don't do a whole lot. In fact, we don't talk about protons very often. Really, the only job that protons have is to keep the electrons from flying away. And as we can see, neon has a whole lot more protons, and so it's going to be a whole lot more effective at keeping those electrons from flying away. So it will have a very high effective nuclear charge. Lithium, not so much. So as we talk about the first ionization energy, this is the trend here. It's kind of cut off at the bottom, but I think you can figure out what it's saying. We were comparing lithium, which is over here, to neon, which is over here. So what's the reason? Well, this is kind of a cheat sheet here. This shows you that neon has a greater effective nuclear charge than lithium. If you're talking about left and right, you want to discuss greater or lesser effective nuclear charge as being the reason. If you're talking about up and down, that's when you talk about electron distance. Now let's talk about successive ionization energies in calcium. So what this means is to take away the first electron for calcium, it's going to require about 589.8 kilojoules per mole. The second one is about 1145, and the third one is 4912. I want you to notice that there seems to be a huge jump in here somewhere. Can you tell where the huge jump is? Do you see that the big jump is from the second to the third? Here from the first to the second, that's like twice as much. But then from the second to the third, that's well over 4 times, almost 5 times as high. And then from the third to the fourth, it's not that much of a jump at all. So since there's a huge jump from the second to the third, what that's telling us is that this atom has 2 valence electrons. And if you look at your periodic table, you'll see that indeed calcium does have 2 valence electrons. And that means that to remove that third electron, that third ionization energy, that means we're going beyond the valence electrons into the what are called the core electrons. And that requires a whole lot more energy than valence electrons. Now, with data like this, we can actually predict what type or what element it could be. So let's take a look at this little graph here, this table, and let's predict which of these 4 elements we're looking at here, if this is the data. So the first thing you want to do is find where the huge jump is. So can you look at this table here and see where the huge jump is? Do you see that it's from the third to the fourth? Right there? It goes up by, what is that? Well over 4 times, I believe. Almost 4 times, anyway. These others are not nearly as large of a jump in magnitude. So that tells us that this has how many valence electrons? It's got to have 3 valence electrons, because from the third to the fourth, that means the fourth, that's your core. So 3 valence electrons. So we're looking for one of these 4 choices that has 3 valence electrons. Which one is it? Well, hope you realize that it is aluminum. You can look at your periodic table and see that aluminum is the one that has 3 valence electrons. I hope you learned something about ionization energy. We're going to continue with this and talk more about it in the next couple videos. So stay tuned, keep watching, and I hope you are learning chemistry.